and also to shed light on how it's still growing and changing every day, because, we don't really know exactly what component of each is the best, but we do our best. So one example of these organizations is Society for the Exploration of Psychotherapy Integration, and it's all about this integrative psychotherapy. And it says their mission, just for reference, is they are an international interdisciplinary organization whose aim is to promote the development of psychotherapies that integrate theoretical orientations, clinical practices, and diverse methods of inquiry. So that mission, I really wanted to share that with you all, because I think that helps to kind of understand, how is integrative therapy relating to the body. I thought it was just these different clinical approaches that we've learned about. But different methods of inquiry, diverse methods, often pertain to things outside of our direct realm of what we've learned in counseling. It might be very clear to link cognitive and behavioral therapy and to be humanistic and to give unconditional positive regard. That eclecticism seems natural. But it's really interesting when you delve into very different and diverse clinical practices and applying things you may not have thought before to the practices that we already learned about in class. So, continuing on to the mind-body approach, it's a very holistic model. So this is kind of my personal definition. There's medical views and medical definitions of holistic models. There's specific psychotherapy holistic models. But the way I kind of have synthesized the definition based on, my classwork and my research in this area is it's really the ability to view multiple parts, multiple moving pieces as a collection of a whole. So rather than thinking of each puzzle piece as its own separate thing, understanding that that puzzle piece is part of a greater being, a greater entity, a greater functioning aspect of something. And it's a really different change in perspective for some people. It's, thinking about the body as part of the mind, as almost on the same level as the mind, it's very, very difficult for some people to grasp. So the general concept or theory underlying, why would we integrate the body into our therapy sessions? And by integrate the body, I genuinely mean, there might be some tension spots located. You might be physically guided through breathing exercises. You may be brought through stretches. You may be guided through different types of dance or just body movements, fluid body movements that may represent the way you're trying to flow your thoughts. It's very, very different depending on, how each body psychotherapist believes or identifies bodily restraint or, a need for some type of movement. So it can vary very much from individual to individual, which is important to note because it's kind of hard to define, this is what you do. That you do this movement with them and then this movement with them, because it's really not that cut and dry. But it, as I was mentioning before, it really focuses on tension and bodily restriction. So yes, there's breathing and movement, but a really big focus on it is how you may hold tension in areas of your body that may be connected to a history or a meaning. So it's kind of relying on somatic memory. So just a refresher on somatic memory for those of you who may have slept through your intro psych class or something. Somatic memory is that form of memory where it's like your muscle memory. That's the effect or the formal term for like why you can still ride a bike even though you haven't in 5 years, why if you learn how to do a Rubik's Cube, why you can just sit there with your fingers and they just move and they know what to do. It's the muscle memory. It's ingrained, it's your trained memory. It's your bodily manifestations of what your brain has learned, which is a fun way to think about it in context with this psychotherapy. So it's really, the therapy aims the way we with CBT maybe want to reshape our cognitive processes. They want to reshape these memory associations with bodily tensions. So it's kind of releasing those restraints that we feel. So that might be releasing tension points, or, it might just be exploring the behavior between those tension points. For instance, you might explore your bodily impulses. So maybe this might be a generalizing example, but one example that resonates with me is whenever I'm stressed and doing work, I do this with my shoulders. Now, this might be an overgeneralization. This may not be super applicable to the field, but this is something that helps me kind of understand what they're aiming for. So me realizing that I always tense my shoulders like that, and then later on, I carry this stress with myself later. So being able to identify the way my body responds to my mental health state might be really, really helpful in me trying to alleviate some of that stress or that tension that I feel in response to the stressful state. And it also